Hi there, sixth grade and eighth grade. I'd like to wish you all a very happy Thursday. I hope that you are doing well as we work on the beginning of our second month of school at home. Thank you to all those of you who did so fabulously on the vocab exam on Tuesday. It was very exciting to see those scores. I put them in Jupyter. I'm also giving just everybody a little bit of extra credit for doing that, just because this is a little bit different and I want you to have a little bit more of a celebration for doing your work online. Make sure you're checking in with your friends and that they're doing their classwork. This is a matter of being prepared for our next year and being ready for your next grade, so make sure everyone's taking that very seriously. In today's lesson, we are going to just follow along on our worksheet, and we are going to spend about a total of 60 minutes doing today's lesson, and this lesson is due tonight at midnight. What I would like you to do is, of course, go to our classwork tab and choose the worksheet that is for today. Today is the 16th. We're going to open that worksheet right on up. Once we get here, we know where we need to start with our do now. So at this point in time, you can pause the video, and writing 4 or more sentences, you can answer. Imagine that it's your dream day. You can do anything. What would you choose to do? After you finish that do now, press play, and we'll jump into some vocabulary. All right, sixth graders, it's time for us to look at vocab. Go ahead and open up to our Unit 12 words in our vocabulary workbook. Yesterday we learned numbers 1 through 10. Today we're going to learn the rest of them. Starting on number 11. The first word for number 11 is intensive. And this is really, really great timing because right now a lot of us are learning about the virus and about how it's impacting everyone in the world and everyone in our country. And a lot of people who are sick from the virus might need to go to a place called the ICU. Now, if you don't know what that means, it might be confusing, but this is really cool. ICU stands for intensive care unit, and one of our vocab words is intensive. It lines up perfectly. Intensive is an adjective, and it means thorough, deep, involving great effort, or concentrated. I think of it with the word intense as a clue. Number 12, please say maneuver. Cool, it's a hard word to say, but once you get it down, it's really good. The noun, a maneuver, is a planned, skillful movement. So something like a Euro step in basketball is a maneuver. That's right. I just made a really good basketball reference. You're welcome. Or the verb to maneuver is to perform or carry out that special planned movement. So you could say Stephen Curry has a great talent in maneuvering the basketball. Number 13, we know this word already. I'm so excited. The word is sabotage. The noun sabotage is to purposefully destroy something to prevent it from working properly. The verb to sabotage means to destroy something so it doesn't work properly. So for example, if a student said that they really, really didn't want to have to do their homework, they might turn their family's Wi-Fi off and they would be sabotaging their Wi-Fi. Don't do that. Don't do that. You wouldn't be able to be on your phone at all. Number 14, scant. That's an adjective used to describe when there's barely enough of something. There's almost none left. There's a scant amount. Number 15, stealthy, like a ninja. It's an adjective that is about somebody who is sneaky, who does something in a way that they're not seen or observed. 16, strapping. This is an adjective as well, and it describes someone who is tall, strong, and healthy. Number 17, strident. This is an adjective, and it means something that's harsh or unpleasant sounding. So look at that sentence. Her strident laughter showed harsh ridicule. Not strident is not something that we want to be doing. Number 18, you already know from Bud Not Buddy. It's the word thrive. To thrive as a verb means to grow vigorously and successfully. Number 19, the adjective is titanic. It's interesting what came first, this vocab word or the boat. The word came first and the boat was named Titanic after this word. It means of enormous size, strength, or power, right? So the Titanic, the actual ship, was the biggest at that time, and so that's why they called it that. If you're a person who's into Greek mythology, which I know a bunch of you are, that word really comes also from, in Greek mythology, there were like these big robot or like these gods. People say a lot of different ways. They were called the Titans. They were the biggest and the toughest, and they came before Zeus and everybody. Number 20, the word is valiant. And that's a word you would use to describe someone who was brave or bold. So typically heroes are seen as valiant. Now that we finished that up, we're going to head back over to our worksheet and we're going to work on our writing assignment for today. See you in a second. All right, guys, vocab is finished. So go ahead and highlight those cells with lime green so I can see that you're done. And let's look down a little bit. We're going to move on to our writing. Our big thing that we're practicing right now is dialogue. So you can just keep your page like it is. I'm going to show you something. Right here, I have for you the list of rules for using dialogue. I'm going to go over these rules and then you have this worksheet available to you so that you can look at the examples, okay? Rule number 1, begin every paragraph with a new speaker, okay? So every time somebody new speaks, it's a new paragraph. So here's one paragraph and it's the teacher who's speaking. Here's a new paragraph and it's Michael who is speaking, okay? So that is how you do that first rule. Number 2, always begin a quote with a capital letter. Let's look right here. We have got a quote and we start with a capital letter. Over here, starting with a capital letter. Right here, capital letter, okay? So even if it's in the middle of a sentence like it is right here, you're still going to go ahead and capitalize the first letter. Rule number 3, the quotation marks go before and after the dialogue. So this one we would call the open quote, and this one we would call the closing quote. They go before and after whatever the speaker says. Punctuation goes inside of the closing quote. So for example, you see right here that this is a question mark inside of the closing quote. Here's a period inside of the closing quote. Okay, so no matter if it's an exclamation point or a comma or whatever, it always goes inside the quote. Use a comma after the speaker tag if it is before the dialogue. So right here we've got Michael raised his hand and said, that's the speaker tag, comma, space, quotation mark. Pick me, I know it, okay? So you use a comma after the speaker tag. Scrolling down, you use a comma after the dialogue if it comes before the speaker tag as well. So that looks like this right here. I sure will. There's the dialogue, comma, here's your speaker tag, okay? Unless the dialogue is a question or an exclamation point, and then that still goes inside. It doesn't get changed over to a comma. It's confusing, but don't worry, guys. We will practice. If the speaker tag interrupts a line of dialogue, use commas to separate it and do not use a capital letter after the speaker tag. So the example for that one is lines 4 and 5. Right here is the speaker tag. It's in the middle of the sentence, okay? And in front of it, you have part of the dialogue. And after it, you have part of the dialogue. We're going to look and we're going to look very closely. It won't let me do it. But go ahead and look at that, how there's a comma here, there's a comma here, and this is a lowercase letter. That is a tricky part of this, but guys, again, practice, practice. Look how cool I am doing all this stuff on the computer. I'm so smart. Next one. If the speaker tag interrupts 2 sentences, use a period after the speaker tag, and then start a new line with a capital. And our example for that is line 6. So let's look at line 6 together. We've got that this is one sentence. See, there's the period. I'm sure it will, responded Michael. And then he speaks again. The speaker tag is right here. It's the responds Michael, okay? So you got your comma, your quotation marks, and then your period there. You have access to this document on your classwork page when you see extra notes of story starters and things like that. So that is something that you're going to be able to access whenever you need it during this writing. Back to our worksheet. Here's what you're going to do now. There we go. You are going to follow the instructions right here. You are going to write 2 or more paragraphs. Oh, sorry, not yet. You're going to do this practice first. Write a short interaction between these 2 characters. We've got Ziggy Starruff and Barky Von Pointer. you're wanting to include dialogue. The reason you're doing this practice is to practice a conversation between these two dogs. The dialogue should serve a purpose and it should be a believable conversation. Be sure to use that rule worksheet we just went over to punctuate them properly. You're going to write your practice answer right down here. You're going to type it in this open space. And when you are done with that, you are going to do our last two parts of the lesson. Again, guys, this is all less than an hour. We need to do it all. You're going to go write 2 more paragraphs of your personal narrative so that by the end of your time writing today, you should have 5 paragraphs and there should be dialogue. The last thing you're going to do is set a timer and read 15 minutes of a Dear book. And then you're going to write for me your summary of what you read in here. I loved seeing what Deja's reading. I liked to see what Lola and Max were reading. Thank you for sharing that with me. Sanaa's book sounds really, really cool right now. Very interesting. So I am looking forward to seeing more about that. After you guys have done all of your writing and all of your reading, you're going to click Turn In. And then tomorrow I will be able to put a grade into Jupyter for you. You can do this. I believe in you. Keep up the good work, guys. Bye.